A person is only as strong as their word, but every day, the world dares you to break it. Integrity with Red Shea is for the ones who refuse to do so. Red spent 12 years in federal prison because he wouldn't break his word. Now, he's talking with people who've done the same. From their battles, you'll see how to stand tall when everything around you falls. Because in a world hell-bent on destroying you, your integrity is the only thing that will protect you. This is Integrity with Red Shea.
We got a gentleman today. His name's Mark, and he's had a 60-year sentence. And after that 20-some-odd years, fighting for his life and doing his own appeals, ended up getting out. Mark, thank you for being on the show. And I know you're a stand-up guy. And that's what this show is all about: integrity, fighting, and accepting full responsibility, but without putting on someone else's shoulders to take that responsibility off in life. Tell us your story.
Well, first of all, Red, I appreciate you welcoming me on your show. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, back in the early part of my life, like in the 80s, after graduating high school, I had a lot of opportunity. You know, my family, my dad's a decorated military guy, and he was stationed there at Pendleton and down in San Diego on the ships. And, you know, I could have gone to any college I wanted, and, you know, I chose a different path. Both my brothers were successful and I felt like, you know, they were a lot smarter than I was. And I started getting in the coke business when I was young, and served some time for that in 1985. Got out, and all they did in there was put me around new connections. So I began smuggling with airplanes, marijuana, you know, into the deserts out behind Palm Springs. And you know, eventually, after 16 years of doing this on special parole for 3 of that, I never got caught. I was really low key. I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't flashy at times, but I never had a home phone line for like 12 years. And, you know, I was very cautious, and, you know, I was very, you know, concerned for my own good as well as the others around me. And I did become one of the larger marijuana traffickers. And I'm from San Diego, but I moved my operations to Arizona because there was, you know, a good tunnel there. And Rafa's guys, Quintero, I love that man, he's a good man. They just extradited him up here, but I did well, you know, I did very well for myself. And I retired, and then a couple of years after I was retired, they came at me because some guys just, you know, got caught and didn't know the code to keep your mouth shut. And
just wanted to snitch, get themselves out of trouble.
Absolutely.
So they used your name.
There's no question. And when the government, it was not funny, but peculiar that the government and the feds in San Diego and the Southern District passed on my indictment. There was no evidence. There was not even a phone call, no money, no drugs, anything like that. So this hard-charging devil woman named Billy Rosen indicted me on the state level in Arizona. And at that time, I was developing extensively in Cabo San Lucas, and I had just invented a litter box called Kitty Vac. It was the #1 touted pet product at the Consumer Electronics Convention that year. And not to be long-winded,
So something legitimate.
all my stuff, yeah. I was paying a lot of money in taxes, and I was living in Cabo as a U.S. citizen abroad, and I was paying taxes from there. But you know, clearly I was making like 10 times more than they thought. But you know, but anyway, this woman indicted me, and I'm like, what's it about? You know, so I'm in county jail in San Diego. I'm usually in the feds, and I never forget. The guard was like, hey, I had the green card with the bond amount, and it looked like 170 grand. I'm like, don't trip. Let me make a phone call. I got this. And the guy beeps down. He goes, Mr. Branon, your bond's $1.7 million and 70,000, almost 1.8 million on a dry marijuana case. And so clearly, you know, I mean, I'm not going to post that without a lot of hearings and nebula hearings, which they had. So I went to one bond hearing in San Diego, and my lawyer, Sheldon Sherman, rat piece of shit, may he rot in hell, he's dead, was arguing my bond. And in the middle of him arguing for a reduction in bond, the judge told him to step to the side, and they arrested my lawyer in court for laundering millions of my money, which he did. And so now he's my co-defendant instead of my lawyer. So then I got sent to Arizona, and a judge lowered the bond, you know, to like 800 grand. I posted it, and I was out for like a year and a half on bond. But the games began immediately, threatening my family, this prosecutor, all the dirty games, you know, like my dad's a decorated military hero. My mother's a saint by definition, never had a traffic ticket. And the prosecutor had the nuts to call her, had the DEA call there and threaten my mother on the phone. Like she like literally fainted in the kitchen, you know. And that was their first shot. And so I went to the next court date, and I told him eye to eye, hey, can you leave the fucking family and the children out of this, you know? Like, it's between men, it's a dry weed case. You act like I'm trafficking fentanyl, you know? They wanted me to roll, you know? And then they hit one of my storage garages in the initial searches, and they found my son's birth papers. Tyler, may he rest in peace. He's my drive. He's the reason I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do out here and help others, and believe that. And they found his birth papers in that storage garage from Mexico. And I politely called them. I just put him in first grade. And I said, you know, I have and the DEA was shocked when I called their office, Detective Struble. And I said, hey, you know, can you hit the storage garage? There was an AMG 500 Benz and some other shit in there. There's a filing cabinet. Can I have my son's birth papers back? I had to pull him out of school. I can't identify who he is. And he's a very shy child, like I was. And they wouldn't give it to me.
May I ask you what happened to your son?
Yeah. After, it was like 2016, he lived with his cousins. They raised him, his aunt and uncle, good people. They're good people, and he wanted to live with my older brother, who's worth millions. He offered to take him, and when I went to prison, and raise him because his mother had drug issues. And he was living at his aunt and uncle's, and he went to a school, Vista High School, and one day he rounded the corner, and 4 Asian kids were beating his cousin up. So my son jumped in. Nothing, just fist, no dirty shit, you know. He was like 16 then, and then 4 years later, he has his own home now. He's living out, he's a grown man, you know. Just turned 21, actually. He came back to the house on Christmas Eve to exchange gifts with the family that, you know. And the kids that jumped on his cousin, one of them was waiting out front, some little punk gang member, and he was waiting to kill my son's cousin, the one they initially had a problem with. And my son walked out front, and the guy just like, that'll work. Shot my boy 3 times in the chest.
Shot him 3 times in the chest.
Yeah. His name's Kevin Pham. He's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? My son was like martial arts respectful. Really nice kid, you know, didn't even cuss.
And he wasn't even waiting for him. He was waiting for the cousin.
Yeah, he was waiting for the other one. You know, it's something. And when I got the news of that, I was in the hole, you know. I was busy in there. And I was in the hole in Big Sandy. And
Can we get some Kleenex over here, please?
Sorry, I'm making.
No,
it's a hard thing to talk about.
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
And so, you know, I had full custody of him. At the last 2 years when I was on bond, I had full custody. So, you know, I was raising him on my own. You know. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a hard thing to talk about. Sure
you can put it right here. Right.
Thanks. Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Usually I can hold it together. Some days I.
Let us know when let us know when we're ready.
Yeah. Some days I can't. You know. All right, brother. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me know where we're picking up at.
They'll let us know, brother.
All right.
So I couldn't even imagine to even think if I had a child that was murdered and
On a gang initiation.
on a gang initiation. And the funny thing about it is he wasn't waiting for your son. He was waiting for the cousin.
On Christmas Eve.
And he said, well, that'll do.
Yep.
That'll work.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Sorry.
Was, no,
and hold on. And you were away and you were locked up and there was nothing you could fucking do about it.
I wasn't just locked up. I was in the hole in Big Sandy, and my cellmate is a legendary beast, one of the toughest men, Alan Shelby from Oregon. And he was my cellie at the time. And when they came down, the lieutenant goes, hey, Branon, you know, we need to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, cool. Me and my cellie will come out. He goes, nah, just you. And I'm like, man, you know we don't talk to the cops by ourselves. And he goes, Branon, it's not what you think. And I'm like, well, then fucking come get us both, man. We'll board up and blow it up. You know the rules. Oh, fuck. Okay, so they let Alan come out with me. And as soon as we got off the range and you see the change out kid, now they didn't just shackle me. Now they're black boxing me. Like they're turning me around, like treating me different, you know, putting double cuffs on me and, you know, all the whole deal. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, they're not doing him like that. So when we rounded the corner at the change cages, there was the pastor, priest, or whatever the dude is. And I just told Alan to go back, and I'm, you know, I kept, is it my mom or my dad? You know, you think at their age, maybe, you know, just tell me. And they're like, well, wait till we get in the room. And when I went in the room, man, you know how it is. You know, I'm surrounded by the biggest, gnarliest. I'm in a small office with like 8 COs because they know what I'm gonna do, and they know I can get out of them fucking cuffs, man. You know, I'm a soldier. And when they told me it was him, yeah, it was. That's how I got to hear about it, and break down like a, you know, in front of all these strangers, you know. But I will say this in Big Sandy, man. I will say this: the respect I got from those above, the higher ups and the guards, would come to my door, and it meant a lot to me. You know, it showed me a different side, you know, like that I hadn't seen up to that point because of our limited interaction with them, for obvious reasons. But I did see some humanity in them, you know. And to this day, I've refused to talk to anyone about it. Not a psychiatrist, not anything, you know. And I appreciate your words, though.
I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Thank you.
I see it. I feel you. I got it. I got you.
I appreciate it. No, it's really, I've done other interviews and I don't get like this, but I was just on the phone with someone out front.
No matter,
and they talked
no
about
matter how
Yeah.
how hard it goes for us, because we chose the things that we do, right?
Oh, the guilt? Oh, God, dude.
To do whatever we've done in our lives.
Yeah.
But when you see the innocent and the people that you love dearly, something happened to them,
Yeah.
it just breaks your heart.
Well, yeah, and it's like, I've always been really protective of my family, like overly, and that's what you were talking about, what happened, you know. And after I got extradited and they started playing games with my kid, you know, taking his papers, not giving him back, threatening my family, and, you know, they're pressuring, you know. I hired the biggest lawyers in Arizona, Larry Debus. He did the Miranda case. Tom Tinnis, he's even better, $250,000, no problem. And I'm showing up, and they're like, man, they don't got nothing on you. And then, but my lawyer's like, your lawyer's gonna flip, Sheldon Sherman. And I had just laundered like $3 million into properties, and we've got them in all these like lawyer-client trust accounts and corporations. And I invested wisely, you know, the money, and I paid a lot to launder it. And shortly before trial, you know, I find out, you know, that he's going to flip. But this is, the war with the prosecutor got ugly, okay? I got convicted of hitting the house where she lived. I got convicted of shooting her brother. But they said I brought a hit team to her house, they say. And I got convicted of that. And some viewers may be like, oh, well, how did he get out? I had 60 years. Everybody knows the
60 years.
I had 30 for the weed, 30 for the shooting.
You were convicted to 60 years in prison.
Yeah, I got 30 for the CCE Kingpin Act for trafficking marijuana, and I got 30 years stacked for a 924C, use of a firearm and a crime of violence with a silencer, because one of the silencers came off at the house that night. And you know, she had just changed seats with her brother, and she sat there all the time, and I know this, and sat at that computer all the time. She's the most evil woman on the planet. Like, you know what I mean? I would have signed a plea. I'd have signed a plea. Like, you didn't catch me.
Accept responsibility.
10 years.
Yeah, give me 10 years, and I move on.
Her answer: you're gonna tell on the cartels, or I'm gonna bury you. I said, all right.
Oh, yeah.
And then she kept playing dirty. And then one night, they paid for it. Her brother barely lived, and she was retired. And, you know, I believe in good and evil. I'm not saying, you know, that woman was Satan. And for years after that happened, people would write me, and you saved my life. That woman was trying to push, and she wasn't going under 15 years. The minute I got a new prosecutor, the minute a new prosecutor came in, 3-year deals, she just loved locking people up, man. And she was in court that day.
At any cost.
At any cost. Like it's like, look, I mean, I'll plead guilty, and I'll give you another $1 million you don't know about. Like, what do you want, you know? When they arrested me, Red, they didn't even know where I lived. I mean, fuck, dude, like, and then I know you don't know anything, but what happened was, and I don't know if you want to get into all this, was one of the drivers for the cartel, rat named Rene Olivares, got caught with a load, 2,000 pounds of coke, and basically, you know, he told on me, you know, and he had been to a few of my houses, and he's lucky, because when I had found out, before he got busted, and I was still working, we had found out that he got caught with a 100-pound sample of weed, but he didn't tell anybody. And I knew that was gonna be a weak link, because I checked people on my crew. I would periodically run them. And then his children saved his life. I had a mansion I was building on 124th and Shea. The swimming pool was like the size of this room, and it was all plastic. And I brought him over to the house. I called him over. He'd never seen my house. And the only reason I let him see the house, because I was going to kill him that day. And because I knew he was the only one that could link me to anything. I was retired. He was the weak link. And so he drives up in my driveway through the electric gates in his F-350 tricked out truck, and, you know, TVs and shit. Pulls up in the driveway, leaves it running. I got a soldier in the house, and I'm telling him to come to the pool, let's have a beer, you know. And I got a silenced pistol in the back of my waist, so I'm gonna smoke him. Because he lied, and he didn't tell anybody, so I know he's probably working with them people. I'm gonna get rid of him, you know, and that's a big decision. And then my guy in the house yells my name out. I had a 2-acre compound, so it was a nice lot. Mark, come here. In the truck are his 2 children that I really like, and they're young.
He brought his kids.
Brought his kids. And
he brought his kids, you know why?
Well, yeah, he was worried, but...
He was worried.
But I didn't even know they were in the truck. That would have been so complicated, you know, so... When my guy tells me that, I just draw the pistol out and put it in his head. I told him to get on his knees. I told him, look, motherfucker, I said, you know, you were a friend of mine once, and I know you're the weak link, and I was gonna fucking smoke you today, and I'm not doing it because I like your children, I know your kids. Motherfucker, don't ever talk about me. This is what I'm equipped with, and this is what I'm ready to do. And I'll tell you, to this day, I regret not killing that son of a bitch, and I hate to be so brash for the viewers, but you know, that guy got 5 years for 1 ton of cocaine, and I got 30 for weed you never caught me with. So, you know, I'm a little irritated. And I want to segue into that. When my lawyer flipped, you know, they did what they threatened Bruce Cutler with, John Gotti's lawyer. Bruce Cutler was in rooms in the Raveniti hearing where crime was taking place, and when John beat his first trial, the second trial, they ran him off, and you know that.
Bruce Cutler, he didn't win shit. It was John behind
Fixing
the scenes doing
fixing the
all
jury.
that.
No, I already
fixing
know.
the jury and everything
For
else.
sure, but they did threaten him like that, and what they used against me, they indict my lawyer, who was arguing my case, under the crime fraud exception, and then they let him testify against me all through court. So when I'm out on bond now, the prosecutor's already been shot up. The brother, she's retired. Nobody knows. I don't know who did it. This woman had so many enemies. I wasn't even at the top of the list. I mean, she did this to so many biker gangs and this and that. I'm real careful about names. I don't like talking about other people, but I wish everyone was like that. But anyway, and so we're just about to go to trial, and sure as shit, Sheldon flips. And I'm living in Rancho Santa Fe. This dude lives in Rancho Penasquitos. We're 20 minutes apart. I used to bounce his kids on my lap. I know his wife, Sandy, really well. They were like family to me. He was my lawyer for years. And I get the call that he's flipped. And I'm like, fuck it. I called Ireland. I'm leaving, going to Ireland to live me a happy life. Passports, everything's on the way. But the whole time this case has been going on, the private eye that they put on my case, Robert Sean Owens, and there's been a 5-part series on this guy on newtimes.com, has been a working informant for the cops for 10 years while he's working with lawyers against his clients. Documented, fact. My case should have been overturned.
I heard about this fraudster.
Yeah, and there's a 5-part series on it. And
I heard about this fraudster.
Scumbag. Like his original case, he was in the back of an ambulance working as a paramedic. He got 20 years. He was peeling grandma's rings, stealing from old people dying. I mean, that's like child molestation to me, right? And he gets a 20-year sentence, Red. He goes to the state system. He rats on so many people in there that some judge lets him out after 4 years. It's all in the articles.
Yeah, I've seen
and
it.
expunges his record.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so now he's reinvented himself. He becomes a PI. Now he's a player in the justice system instead of a defendant. And his record's erased. But my law team never tells me about his past. They don't tell me any of that. I paid him 50 grand, and he was dirty. He's telling me where the witnesses are. He's telling me where the prosecutor lives. I mean, like he was in the pocket, you know, but the whole time he set me up. And so it was insane, you know. So the night, once I find out that Sheldon flipped, ironically, 3 days later, they catch some guys in the neighborhood strapped with guns, ski masks. I guess they'd been back and forth to the house for 2 nights. He wasn't there. I got acquitted of that charge, believe it or not, and they testified against me. When Sheldon Sherman took the stand, and they asked that son of a bitch, what do you know the defendant to do? He's a drug dealer. Just like the piece of shit he is. And the government, like he's testifying against me. And I'm just like, and when it gets to the charge at his house, in the final deliberation of the jury, they acquitted me of that charge. But where they fucked up was in my indictment, and you know law, 924C, use of a firearm and a crime of violence with a silencer, to wit, conspiracy to murder the United States Attorney General of Arizona, or the Attorney General of Arizona, Billy Rosen. Conspiracy. 20 years later, after I filed multiple appeals on this PI, he's been giving them information, debriefing to the cops. During my case, I have the papers. I brought them. But we're still paying them. And so what happens is it's insane. Like, I've paid these guys $250,000.
Incredible.
So when Sheldon's house, he barely escapes because he's not there. And I guess the guys didn't want to shoot his wife and kids. And if I was in control of that situation, I would have never let that happen. According to them, that was the orders they got. And they got caught. And when I sent the PI to go check on them, tell them, hold tight, because they just got caught for like burglary, like, oh, guns, ropes, like they're gonna go, just told him chill. He goes down and tells the cops that not only did I order the hit on him, but I did the hit on the prosecutor as well. But now he has a duty, he can do that. If you have a client and he's out of control, like some would say I was, I mean, fuck, you know, I mean, I don't understand how people in a position of power like that, you know, prosecutors, judges, like, they have your life in their hands, you know? And when they run astray and take stuff so personal and so hateful, like who's to check them? And
it becomes personal to them because it becomes so engrossed in these cases, if you will, that they just want to win at any and sometimes at any cost.
Any cost. I mean, and they just kept coming at me, and I'm like, give me a plea. And I'm asking, you know, before all the crazy shit happened. Now remember, I'm still out on State Pond when all these shootings are going on, and well, when he goes and tells them that tale, you know, there's a fucking armored cars and 30 cops coming to get me, you know, but they didn't just come get me. And look, and I don't want to sound like, oh, woe is me. You know, I'm never going to be that. I take acceptance for what I did. You know, I was a smuggler of weed, a plant. And you couldn't even give me a 10-year plea. There's no allegations of hard drugs in my whole case. But there was a lot of money to be had, a lot of houses to be took, and they got them. They took a bunch of real estate and stuff like that. But when they arrested me on the feds, when they took the case over from the state, that week my mother, my dear mother, was there visiting. She loved her grandson, little Tyler. And we were going out to dinner, and I was going to the beach with him and pushing my son into waves. I just taught him how to surf. He was 8. And there was many days that I would go alone from my house to the beach in Encinitas or Cardiff. And you could have took me down there, you know, but they didn't. They waited till I was driving my mother back to Vegas because my friend had a bunch of Miss Fitness pageant girls that were in Vegas, and he wanted me to meet them, and I was like, shit, I'll go out there, you know. So I said, Mom, I'm gonna drive you home, no worries. I get in the minivan, I'm driving with her, Via de la Valle. Highway Patrol gets behind me, hits the reds. I'm joking with my mom, hey, Mom, your tag's good. I know she's a stickler, you know, everything in her life is, she's legal, she's a citizen. And when they pull me over, like 5 cars of them jump out with ARs and MP5s, get on the motherfucker. And I'm like, I got my hands out the window. I'm like, hey. And I'm looking, I go, Mom. And my poor mother is just huddled down on the ground, you know, and there's, get up. I'm like, don't shoot my mother. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, Mom, look at me. And I never forget, man, like the look in her eyes. She's like a little bird. And she looks, I go, Mom, please put your hands out the window. These assholes will shoot you, Mom. Like that was the most fucked up takedown like you could do, man. Like, you know, it's just like, damn, man, like you could have got me alone. But it's just that's the way my case was, you know, and if someone on the outside were to look at it, they would say, fuck, this dude stood up to tyranny. But the only reason I got that shooting off, and I didn't do a day for that, the only reason was because the Johnson case came in and struck the residual clause, which said any crime that creates a substantial potential risk of harm to another. Right. That was one part of it, along with the elements clause. But boom, my shit got thrown out, and then I had to get resentenced. And then I went in, and I still had to get resentenced on the weed stuff. So this is during COVID. And that prosecutor was not even ready in any way, shape, or form. Didn't even do a sentence memorandum. And I'm stoked on that, because there's some things about me from prison that if they brought it up, like who I was running around with and who they say I was in there, I'd have been fucked. Like, but she fucked me anyway. She gave me 27 years.
You were running with a crew.
I run around.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I run around with the best, you know. Yeah. And so, you know, but it's like, she gave me 27 years on a resentencing, and she used relevant acquitted conduct. And my lawyer's like, Your Honor, Sean Perez, he's a good lawyer. Your Honor, this is just a marijuana case, you know. And she's like, Mr. Perez, we all know this isn't just a marijuana case. She's like, your client hit the prosecutor's house, almost killed her brother. Your client sent the shooters to go kill his lawyer. Luckily, they were caught. And I'm like wanting to scream, but I got acquitted of that. You know, I'm like, bitch. But she maxed me out. I mean, and at that point, we had raised the fact that marijuana was then legal in like 21 states. Like, it's just a weed case, but you know how it is. I'm not crying.
They should have, that should have never been able, they shouldn't have been able to bring that in if you've been acquitted.
And there's
absolutely not even a mention of it.
Yep.
Should have been stricken immediately.
And not only that, that count of the hit, it was a murder for hire, count 7 on my ex-lawyer. I got acquitted by the jury on that, and you're still using it? Because see, the acquitted conduct doctrine has been a contentious thing. It's been locked up at 4-4 in the Supreme Court to throw it out, to say it's double jeopardy. How can you use something that this man didn't even, I'm acquitted of it. But, you know, it was gnarly, man. And then I had to tell my wife, you know, after I got all that time, you know, I was like, I loved her so much, Shauna, you know, and a great woman. She was my world, and the only time I ever been married. I had to walk away from all that. I had to tell her, hey, look, you know, after about 2-3 years inside, I was hard timing. I was like, I can't do this. I'm wondering what you're doing. I'm freaking out in here, you know. And because, you know, I did 11 and a half years in my 22 in the hole, you know, like I did a lot of hole time. And in the beginning, they slammed me down on a red flag because they hit on the prosecutor. I was an escape risk. It was like the biggest case in Arizona at that time, you know, like who does that, you know? But when I look back on it, I'm surprised, you know, that I just snapped, you know, but I'm not. It's like I love my family, man. I love my parents. I'm so lucky they're still alive. And when I come home, you know. And this is what I want to segue into, is to help others with the worst tragedies in their lives. You know, I want to help people. I want to help people who've been child trafficked. I want to help people whose children have been murdered. You know, I want to show people how I can do it, how I stayed sane after that. And when they put you in a 9x12 box, and I got to grieve, every day I would wake up and I would forget that my son had been murdered, and it would hit you again. And I'm in a box, man, and it's just like the things I thought about in there, you know, and it was just insane, you know, to have to deal with that with nobody around to comfort you.
So let me ask you this. You say you want to help. How would you help?
I can help people with my little methods of dealing with PTSD. I have a checklist I do every day about what am I thankful for, what, you know, why am I here? Why I'm about to do what I'm about to do, and you check it off, and you go through the list. Who's valuable to you? Your parents. Nothing monetary. Who's valuable? Who am I doing it for? My deceased boy, you know, like I do it through working out. I work out obsessively. I need the endorphins. I work out every day on a same schedule, and I work out for a long time. And when I'm done with that, then it's business time. And what I do is I think about, wow, I was never supposed to come home. I mean, I really did the equivalent of 8 tours of duty, 10 tours of duty, and it wasn't in soft places, man. I can name every penitentiary I've been in. And it started with Atwater and it ended with Victorville. I did the SMOO programs. I did a lot of stuff, you know, and I did them all. And I did 7 penitentiary transfers in 5 years, so I know what adversity is like. I know that when I talk to children or I deal with people who have been through what I've been through, I can make a difference in that child's life by talking to them and telling them, hey, you know, your dad loves you or your mother loves you. They're locked up, and this is the way it is in there, and this is why you should never give up hope that they'll come home, because look what I did. And that's the nature I want to help those people.
So the adversity that you've gone through and the experience that you've gotten from that, you would like to take that and show people that, listen, this is what I've gone through. This is how you avoid that. This is how you deal with this.
Exactly.
And all that good stuff. So now you're on a path in your life after doing all this prison time, after 60-year sentence, appealing on your own, am I correct?
Yeah, after $500,000 in lawyers wasted.
After $500,000.
I'm in there and the Johnson case comes.
Right.
And I win.
Appealing on your own, doing your own appeals and everything, and getting out after 23 years?
I did 22, and then I did a year and a halfway house. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say
thanks to Donald Trump, I got out early.
Just say 23 years.
Yeah.
Okay, of fighting to get out and they knock some of that baloney off, if you will. Now you want to change your life. Now you want to change and to go down a different path in life and say, enough bullshit. And I've gone through it all. I've seen it all, done it all.
Exactly.
Now I'm here in my life at this time of my life. I want to do better things. I want to do more positive things.
Absolutely.
And if I can help someone that's grieving, that has gone through like I've gone through when I was in that hole, knowing what happened to my son, I'm going to do that. Because I'm going to do it for my son.
And for my parents.
And for your parents.
And everyone that cared about me. And I'm going to tell you, I love the veterans. My dad was raised in a military family. I see Trump's finally building a very giant center for them, and that's great. But our veterans should be getting the money that we send to foreign wars, $300 billion to this Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, we should just stay the fuck out of it is what we ought to do. Can you imagine what that money would do to our veterans, our homelessness? And they're skimming the money. I mean, you've seen that the oligarchs that are getting them.
We're in LA here, and I cannot tell you how bad it is with the homeless.
I know, and I was in the halfway house right here.
Sad.
Yeah, I was in the halfway house on Western and in Vinewood. I did 15 months there, coming out, drug addicts and people in the street shooting drugs in front of children. And it's like, I'm from San Diego. I'm from a very good area. Right now I'm living in Irvine, which is like Mayberry, but I got the hell out of here. I know the industry wants my story, but I don't have to live here to do it. But that's my goal, Red, is to I can help.
After all the time that you did, now that was a lot of time.
And I can tell you how it started. Go ahead.
Let me just say one thing. Let me ask you a question. That adversity that you went through, the tough times, the struggle, and not seeing, hearing about your son, your parents, and just not being able to do anything about that because you're locked up. There's nothing you can do, and mentally on you, the struggle that you've gone through. Let me ask you about the struggles of going through prison life. Let me ask you about those struggles. And I know you're smiling because I'm smiling too inside because I know how I've acted.
Yeah.
But let me ask you about that, please.
Sure. And there's boundaries I can talk about, but you
Of
go
course.
right ahead. Yeah, go right ahead.
Just tell me, what were those struggles like for you?
When I first...
What was the walk like for you in prison?
When I first started my bid, right, because they had me over in Arizona, for trial and all that, and I got 60 years in the first place, and I know the state's coming to re-indict me on the shooting again while Martinez is in that court. When I got sentenced in the Fed, now, this didn't end there. I know they're coming again. They want me to tell, because they're not really sure of what really happened there, right? So anyway, I go to Atwater. This is, 03, like November is when I get there. And I get to the line, it's a penitentiary. When I first get there, SIS, lieutenants, they pull me in, your tough guy talk. They're like, hey, Branon, they're like, government says you still got a lot of money. And, these guys in here, they're going to try and get at you for that money. And I looked at him, I went, did you read my shit? Like, I don't give a fuck, man. Come and get it if you can. You know what I mean? I don't have any money. Okay, we're done here. And Moorhead was like this captain who was a tough motherfucker. He was cool, right? And the SIS, I forget there. Anyway, so I hit the line, and that's my first penitentiary I went to. And, I talked about this on another podcast, like, it's hella dangerous, like there's dudes getting booked everywhere, like everyone, you get a knife, you gotta, this is what's up, and there was a lot of good men there. But at that time, it's a yard that doesn't let validated gang members walk like Aryan Brotherhood or Mexican Mafia, So the structure is kind of like, you're gonna pick someone, this guy has got history of violence and he's a stand-up dude and he's got the keys, whatever. And so I was there, but I was only there for like 4 months. You know, they immediately re-indict me and pull me back out of Atwater. Now they go to sweat me in Maricopa County Jail, the worst county jail. Sheriff Joe Arpaio is a piece of shit. I mean, he's the one that puts every
Political sheriff.
Yeah, and he was like,
shit.
You get a Ladmo sack in the morning, no lunch, and then at dinner.
Didn't they indict him?
That dude's ex-DEA. Hell yeah, they did. Everyone's tried to get him and indict him. But anyway, so I'm only on the yard at Atwater for 4 months. I'm re-indicted. I go back to county jail fighting that case from 04 to 06. And I'm in the worst conditions, man. I closed Madison. I opened up 4th Ave, which is, their max over there. Because the guys on the chain gang, they're not high custody dudes or we'd run off. And but while I was in there, man, it was hella violent. It was crazy. But I told this story on another podcast. But so they're sweating me. They want me to tell. I'm telling my lawyers, hey, I'm a GP, man. I already got 60 years, man. What's up? And and I go, but I know what's up. I said they're gonna try and sweat me and get me to rat.
Yep.
And so after a year and a half, I had a killer judge, man, Doug Reyes. He's an ex-defense attorney. And so finally, after sweating me for like a year and a half, they try to do a settlement conference with me, and I'm like, man, I ain't signing shit, man. They wanted me to sign like 15 to 20, open plea or whatever. It was actually 12 to 20 open plea. So I'm not signing nothing because I'm thinking, man, I'm going to go overturn this in the feds because I know they've been using that dirty PI through my whole case. I mean, every one of my appeals is like, Robert Sean Owens is a dual agent for the police and he's in my law team. And it's completely legit. When I found out, I didn't even tell you this, when I'm in CCA, when the feds grabbed me, I go to call my lawyer, Larry Debus. Hey, Larry, he answers the phone. Hey, what's up, Mark? I go, hey, I need you to do this, this, and that. He goes, we're not on your case anymore. I said, what? He goes, we're not on your case anymore, me or Tom. He goes, you'll find out. I go, wait a minute, I gave you 200 grand. I gave you 100,000, I gave Tennis 100,000. He goes, we can't talk about it. I said, fuck, I'm in CCA. I hang up, I call Tom Tennis. Man, what's up? He goes, you're gonna find out later, man, this and that. I said, how the fuck are you off my case? The state held a closed hearing. I'm allowed to be invited to any hearing in regards to me. They hold a closed hearing in this Judge O'Toole's state courtroom. And remember now, those high-powered lawyers are defending me in the state, but I've already gone into my initial arraignments in the feds and saying, yeah, these are gonna be my lawyers. These are gonna be my lawyers. Yeah, I can pay them. And they hold a closed hearing and fired all my lawyers and sealed it. For reasons on the record, I have all the paperwork right there. You've never seen, dude, Arizona's gnarly. Like, it wasn't just all that other stuff I went through. It was like, man, the dirty game. There's been books written about the corruption in that state, I mean, you held a closed hearing. That's a 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment violation. I'm allowed any hearing in regards to me. And you seal it, and then all of a sudden, my lawyers are gone. And I got to hire, I mean, the things they did over there. So after dealing with all that, I'm an angry man. And now you've extradited me out of Atwater, my first penitentiary, to go do another trial for that shooting. But I know you just want me to tell. So after all this time, and they came at me, I get up in the courtroom, I'm all chained up, and we're doing our last status conference to see, what's next. And I got a pretty high-powered lawyer that's sitting right chair to a public defender. I'm keeping it on the down low, like I'm ready to fight, So they asked my lawyers, Roger Hansen and Ed Susi, they go, oh, well, we'd like to address, you stand up on the chain, all the boys, and I know a bunch of people, there's like 20 of us in the church. And the judge goes, well, how's the status conference? What happened? How did it go? And I immediately tell him, Your Honor, I'd like to execute allocution. Now, by law, you got to let me talk. I'm going to say,
Yep.
I said, this is just how it went. I said, Your Honor, I know you may not know what happened, but I'm already doing 60 years. I'm doing 30 years for this shooting, and I'm doing 30 years for marijuana trafficking in the feds. He goes, and they don't even know this. The judges are just so bang, 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 bang. And I make a scene, dude. Like, I'm like, Your Honor, I don't want to disrespect anyone in this courtroom, but they want me to sign a 12 to 18 year, whatever it was, plea, and then rat on, I'd say the guy's name, they rat on the guys that testified against me in open court. And I'm not doing it. And the prosecutor goes, Your Honor, there's ears in the courtroom. He flips. Bob Schutz flips out. And the judge looks at him and goes, sit down and be quiet, or I'll hold you in contempt. Let Branon speak. And I keep going. And I said, and then as soon as I say that, the guy's PI goes out the back door to go save. I'm still saving this guy. He's a rat. He testified against me. And I'm like, Your Honor, I said, you know, I really don't want to ever disrupt your courtroom. I said, but I'll put my hand on the Bible and I'll swear to tell the truth, and I'm going to lie and get everybody off, whatever I can do. And the prosecutor's just flipping out, and the judge looks at him. He goes, take him off the chain. They took me off the chain. I want to see everyone in chambers after this. Because the prosecutor blew up again, and he was going to hold him in contempt. He's like, you can't believe it. It was such a scene. It was like, it is a movie being made soon, but it was just insane. So when he takes us in the back, and the judge made him give me an 8-year plea. He said, this man's going to be a disruption to your case, and he made him sign the plea. So now I've been there 2 years. And then they take me back to Atwater, and that's when I started doing that. And that Fed time, man, like you say, when you get there, you know, you're like, whoa, knife. I didn't even know how to cut a knife. But give me a few minutes with half a day with a fucking black clip. I'll make you some killer ones now. But then I'm green, you know, like I don't know the tricks yet of how to do this. So after Atwater, I got a hardship transfer to Victorville, and now I'm at a real gnarly pen. There's a bunch of big homies. There's 4 brand members there. There's like 5 Mexican Mafia there. Like everybody's there. And it's gnarly. There's like 300 white dudes, 400 Sureños and MA, my friends. And, then the Crip cars, some good Crips, Bloods. They run good cars out there. But that yard was popping. And now I'm in the war zone. And you know, I'm still in my khakis and boots, and now I'm going on my first mission. What's up? You know, like I earned what I got, you know. And so, you know, now I'm running with a big wolf pack. You know, we're rolling down the chow hall. Everyone's protecting the big homie. And that guy was a fucking beast. He's dead now, Mark Nyquist. But yeah, him and his mother got killed. I don't know what that was about, but he was like a mentor to me, you know, like I liked the way he moved and this and that, but, you know, he really educated guy, man. Like some of those guys that have been around.
Yeah, a lot of those guys that are in prison, they learn quick, and they're not dumb people.
No. They're
very intelligent people. And once they get a hold of something that they want to really learn about, they learn.
Oh, yeah.
They learn, the law pretty well. I know one thing. When I was in the can in the beginning, I learned real quick through some of those jailhouse lawyers, and they helped me immensely.
Smart.
They helped me immensely because what they did is they helped me understand what my lawyer was saying to me, and they helped me know how to navigate with my lawyer, if you will. And Jesus, yeah.
You had a heavy case too. I mean, that case you were in is no joke.
I was like you. I had a CCE against me, continued criminal enterprise, and all that. They wanted to sweat me and rat and everything else. But this is about you.
Well, speaking of that, though, I mean, like I wound up with Freddie, the one that killed Whitey over in Hazleton. I was with him in Hazleton, but yeah,
you were with the guy who killed Whitey Bulger, Freddie.
Yeah, hell of a quarterback, man. He's a cool ass dude.
He beat me to the punch, but that's besides the point. He beat me to the punch, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, he's a good dude. But I could tell you, when I got to Victorville, that's when stuff started popping, and you start making a name for yourself. I was a pretty tough guy, I guess.
It's amazing. It's amazing what we've both gone through, and it's amazing that we're here sitting now. And so lucky.
Especially after I had a life sentence. I was 38 years old when I got 60 years. I was done.
But forget about the prison time. And all the shit that we did, we could have been killed too. We could be dead already.
I was 18 years old downloading planes of coke, refueling planes of coke in Guerrero Negro, Mexico. I
So-
mean, I was 18. I mean, I was in and out of Mexico, and then I lived there for I had houses there for 20 years. I mean, that place is, I've been to Rafa Quintero's house in Culiacan. It's called La
Right.
Iglesia, a legendary place. I mean, you talk about a party, man. All these gangsters with fucking gold-plated, you know, AKs and 45s, and I'm in there snorting coke off tortilla chips with these dudes. And, it was just insane,
But now your life is over with. It's behind you.
Yeah.
So
it is.
you're doing better now in life.
I don't even think about ever committing a crime again, because when I came home, here's the realization. I'm so blessed that my mother and father are alive. My poor mother is hit with Alzheimer's right before I came home, and I've been able to see him now. And she's my rock, man. She's my angel. And one day she couldn't really remember me, and the next day when she remembered me, she just broke down crying, and it was like, I was like, I saw you just yesterday, but now she remembered. And then she remembered the death of her grandson and everything. And my dad was warning me, like, hey, try not to bring that up, because when you have an Alzheimer's patient, you don't want
It makes it worse.
You don't want to shock them, but she remembered.
Right.
And it was but it was a beautiful moment. We cried, and I just held her little face, and I said, Mom, he's in a better world, like, think of all the kids that went to the military when they were 19 and 20 and gave their lives for this country.
Right.
That's the only way I could rationalize that loss. And I stepped out of religion. I was like, fuck, how'd you do this? And this is important to know.
Okay.
When I lost my dear Tyler, endless pastors, priests, whatever, would come to my door. And I would look at them and I would be like, yeah. And they kept saying it was God's will. And I'm like, get off my fucking door, man. That kid was an angel, man. My son was helping autistic children. He was 8 years old in elementary school. That kid rose his hand to stay after school to work with autistic children. That's the kind of son I had. Like, that kid was beautiful, man. Like you don't see that in a child. In a child, you don't see that. That's such instincts. And I've always been that way, man. I've never been a bully. Like, in prison, I protected the elders of my race, and I made sure nobody ever walked over my people, man. But it's not my life anymore. And when I came home, I'm so grateful to be home that I would never commit a crime. And I have so much talent. My mother told me, if you put half your energy into being a legal guy, you'd be a Fortune 500 company as you did selling weed, because that shit ain't easy. The logistics of moving 18-wheelers from Arizona to New York and then getting all the money.
Sure.
I never lost a load, not one. I'm good at stuff, know.
We're coming to an end on the program here. I want to ask you, through all the adversity that you've gone through, what's the best advice you can give people that are going through hard times, no matter what it is in their life? What's the best advice?
No matter what you've been through, and I mean veterans, people who have lost loved ones, people have endured tragedies, maybe, bad accidents. I survived it in isolation after the worst loss of parents can ever had. Losing your child, there's nothing worse. And if you stick to a program where you get up and you immediately in the morning, when you start feeling like the world's over, you start working out, you exercise, and every rep, I think of my child, and every rep you think of how much your success is going to overcome whatever happened to you. You just think about, like, every day, like, I can beat this, and find something, if it's your spirituality or whatever, just focus on that. When you're done with the routine and you're done with the endorphin release, now do a checklist. What am I thankful for? What am I grateful for? And I have a lot to be grateful for. And some people have different things on their checklist, and then start your day like that. Not, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God, I got one limb missing, or this.
So it's the integrity part of it. If you get knocked down, no matter what,
Get up.
no matter how hard it is, to get back up
Yeah.
and to continue.
Yeah, my father raised me like that. Don't ever quit. Don't ever quit. I talk to people in the gym that are disabled, and I walk up to them all the time, and I put my hand on their shoulder. I say, you keep doing what you're doing. AI is amazing. One day they're going to be able to help you with what's wrong with you. And people see me that know me and know the kind of person I can be. They look at my heart, and that's the best. I can't ever express how much it means to me to help others, man.
Well, Mark, that life is over with. You have a new path.
You bet.
You're doing fabulous right now.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck in the world.
Thank you.
And you know what? I want to thank you immensely for sharing your story and the grief of your family on this show. And I also want to thank you for being a stand-up guy.
I saved everybody on my case.
Because this is a show of stand-up people and solid people, no matter what adversity they've gone through. And you have done that immensely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and that's what bonds us. And so,
one man to another.
that's right, and it means a lot to me, Red. I appreciate you having me on today.
Thank you very much, Mark.